Have you ever held a delicate porcelain cup in your hands? Beautiful, fragile, yet designed to hold something nourishing, something precious. Imagine that cup as your heart, your energy, your very spirit. Day after day, you tip that cup, pouring generously into others. You give your time, your attention, your love, your strength, and each day you pour until there's nothing left inside. But now picture clearly, vividly, the moment when the cup runs empty. What do you have left? An emptiness, a hollow feeling that sits heavy in your chest. The more you pour, the emptier it becomes, and yet you still continue. You smile and push through the exhaustion, believing this is how life must be, constantly giving, even at the cost of yourself. But here's a gentle, powerful truth that you might need reminding of. You cannot pour from an empty cup. The emptiness you feel, the exhaustion and quiet sadness that creeps in after a day of giving is your soul softly whispering, "Please fill me again." Your cup, your spirit was never meant to remain empty. And if you continue to pour without refilling yourself, the cup will eventually crack under the pressure. Have you reached that moment yet? The quiet breaking point where your energy is depleted, your joy muted, your dreams forgotten in the rush of meeting everyone else's needs. You're not alone. Many carry cups that have been empty for far too long, walking through life drained, secretly wondering why everything feels harder, why even small tasks feel overwhelming. It's because your cup is empty. But it doesn't have to stay that way. Long ago, in a faraway village, a wise gardener planted a beautiful garden. This garden thrived with vibrant roses, lilies, and blossoming cherry trees, each plant nurtured carefully, each flower tended with patience and love. Travelers from distant lands came just to admire its beauty, feeling refreshed and renewed as they walked through its vibrant paths. But as time passed, the gardener's attention shifted elsewhere. Responsibilities piled up, other people's gardens needed tending, and day by day, his own garden received less of his care. Flowers wilted unnoticed, weeds quietly overtook pathways, and the once brilliant colors faded. Soon the garden grew silent, neglected, and dull. One evening, after another exhausting day caring for everyone else's gardens, the gardener returned home and stood in shock at the entrance to his own. He realized clearly what he'd done. In pouring all his energy into others, he'd left nothing for his own garden. The vibrant place of joy he'd once loved so dearly was now lost beneath neglect and forgotten dreams. This garden, my friend, is your soul, your inner life. Ask yourself honestly, have you become the gardener who forgot his own garden? Have you allowed yourself to become wilted, overgrown with the weeds of worry, doubt, and exhaustion because you spent all your strength caring for everyone else? It's not too late. Gardens, even the most neglected ones, can bloom again if you take the time to nurture them. But you must decide today that your own garden is worth your time, your energy, and your love. Right now, you might feel hesitation, maybe even guilt whispering inside you. You've been taught your whole life that focusing on yourself is somehow wrong, selfish even. Maybe you fear others might judge you if you start putting yourself first. Perhaps your heart whispers quietly, is it really okay for me to care about my own happiness? Listen carefully now, this is crucial. It's not just okay to focus on yourself, it is essential. You might feel guilt rising when you say no to someone. You might hear whispers of criticism when you set boundaries. You might doubt your right to rest, to take time just for you. But understand deeply, this guilt, this hesitation is a sign you're growing. It's the discomfort of stepping into the unknown, the resistance that comes with breaking free from old patterns. Hear these words clearly and gently. You have every right to prioritize your peace. You have every right to take time to restore your strength. Your worth isn't determined by how much you sacrifice. Your worth is inherent, and it's time you honored it. Remember again, you cannot pour from an empty cup. So today, grant yourself permission fully, unapologetically to replenish yourself. You do not owe explanations, justifications, or apologies to anyone for nurturing your own soul. But what will they say? You wonder. What will happen when they see me changing, when they see me setting limits? Consider the lighthouse that stands strong and tall upon a rocky shore. It guides ships safely home in the darkest storms, shining its light unwaveringly. Some ships pass by gratefully, appreciating its guiding glow. Others sail past, paying it no attention. The lighthouse doesn't waver, doesn't dim itself, doesn't question its purpose based on the reactions of those it guides. It simply shines steady and true, knowing its value does not depend on approval or acknowledgement. You are that lighthouse. When you begin to shine your own truth, setting clear boundaries, embracing your own value, some will celebrate your growth and others may criticize it. Some may call you selfish or claim you've changed as though change was something wrong or shameful. But hear me clearly, their discomfort is not your burden. Their judgment does not diminish your worth. You are not selfish for lighting your own path. You are not wrong for nurturing your heart and soul. Those who truly value you will recognize your worth and celebrate your growth. Those who resist your change are simply not yet ready for their own. Stand firm, keep shining, and trust deeply that your light matters. Pause with me for a moment. Breathe slowly and deeply, close your eyes gently, and consider this powerful question. Who am I beneath all the roles I play? You have so many roles: friend, partner, employee, caregiver, parent, but strip away each title and responsibility just for a moment. Who remains? What dreams have been buried beneath others' expectations? What desires have you quietly set aside because there never seemed to be enough time or permission? Maybe you've always wanted to travel, to write, to paint, or to explore a passion you kept hidden away. Maybe you've longed simply to know yourself deeply, to rediscover joy in simple things like quiet mornings, long walks, and laughter shared with no pressure or expectation. Now, in this moment of honesty, acknowledge the ache that comes from neglecting your true self, the sadness of dreams unexplored, the quiet pain of lost identity. That ache isn't there to punish you. It's your inner self calling out gently and powerfully, please remember me. I matter too. Will you answer that call? Will you begin today, not tomorrow or next year, but today, to reclaim your dreams, your joy, your very identity? Because here's the powerful truth you must remember. Choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's a profound act of self-respect. It's not betrayal, it's loyalty to your own heart. And it's certainly not abandonment of others. It's a promise to them that when you return, you will return full, vibrant, and genuinely present. Perhaps right now your mind quietly protests, whispering, I don't have the time to focus on myself. My days are already packed, every minute spoken for. How can I possibly add self-care to an endless list of tasks? Imagine now, vividly and clearly, an old woodsman tirelessly working day after day, cutting trees in a dense forest. He is strong, disciplined, and relentless, but over time his axe grows dull. Instead of pausing to sharpen it, he pushes harder, chopping longer, convinced he doesn't have time to stop. Day by day his work becomes harder, slower, and more exhausting. Yet still he resists pausing to sharpen his tool, saying, I have no time. Until one day another traveller passes by, watches quietly, and finally asks, Why don't you pause to sharpen your axe? Without stopping, the woodsman replies, exhausted, I have too many trees to cut. I can't spare a moment. Do you see yourself in the woodsman? How many times have you pushed yourself to exhaustion, believing that pausing for self-care, sharpening your axe, would waste precious time? The irony is clear, isn't it? If the woodsman paused, took a breath, and sharpened his axe, his work would become easier, lighter, and more effective. Your life works exactly the same way. The more depleted you become, the harder your life feels. By never pausing, never sharpening your own spirit, your own heart, You inadvertently make every task more draining. But imagine clearly now how different things could be if you took just a little time to renew yourself each day. You'd become sharper, stronger, more vibrant, and you'd discover, perhaps to your surprise, that you could accomplish far more in less time, simply because your heart and mind were nourished. You might begin with small moments, a quiet morning walk before your day starts, 10 minutes to meditate time to read a few pages of a book you love. These small acts, like sharpening your axe, transform your life from overwhelming to manageable. So don't believe the illusion of no time. You must make the time. Your life depends on it. Understand clearly, though, that when you begin to prioritize yourself, the path won't always feel comfortable or easy. True growth rarely is. It demands courage, the courage to step beyond old patterns, the courage to face discomfort, to hold boundaries, even when others push back, to say no, even when it feels difficult. There will be moments when the old way of doing things, the habit of putting others first at your own expense, will feel tempting, comfortable, and familiar. But remember this deeply. Every hero who ever lived, every great soul who ever made a difference, first faced resistance and discomfort. The seed must break through the darkness of soil to reach sunlight. A butterfly struggles fiercely out of its cocoon before it can spread its wings. The discomfort you feel when you begin putting yourself first isn't a sign you're doing something wrong. It's proof you're growing. Think about the eagle for a moment. When a mother eagle wants her eaglets to fly, she gently nudges them towards the edge of the nest. High above the ground, it seems terrifying and unsafe. But she knows clearly if they never leave their comfort, they'll never soar. Right now, you are that eaglet, standing at the edge of a new life, feeling uncertainty, doubt, even fear. But take a deep breath, spread your wings, and trust yourself. You were made to soar, not to remain forever in the safety of what you've always known. Each moment you choose yourself despite fear, each time you set a boundary despite discomfort, you grow stronger. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the quiet decision to keep moving forward despite it. You have that courage within you. Trust it. Trust yourself. Now, with courage in your heart, imagine vividly returning to your garden, the one we visited earlier, the garden of your spirit. Perhaps it has been neglected for a long time, and weeds of worry, anxiety, and self-doubt have grown strong and deep. Yet beneath the weeds lie dormant seeds of joy, peace, and fulfillment, waiting patiently for your attention. Step back into that garden now, clearly and intentionally, and kneel gently down. Start by pulling away the weeds, the negative self-talk, toxic expectations, the guilt you've carried far too long. Replace them with rich soil of compassion and self-understanding. Plant seeds of new beginnings, dreams you once set aside, passions you've always wanted to pursue. Nurture them patiently, daily, with small acts of care. Water them with love, with positive affirmations, and with a steady belief in yourself. As days pass, you'll notice new sprouts emerging, renewed confidence, deeper peace, rediscovered joy. Perhaps you'll be amazed at how quickly your garden transforms once you give it attention. And soon enough, others will notice too. They'll see a lightness in your steps, brightness in your eyes, joy in your voice. They may wonder what changed, and you'll know exactly the truth. You started nurturing yourself. Your garden, your inner sanctuary, will become a place you return to daily, not occasionally. It becomes your source of strength, resilience, and joy, a sacred space no one else can disturb or diminish. Every act of self-care, every choice to prioritize yourself adds to its vibrancy. Never again let it wither. Commit fully, proudly, to tend your inner garden each day. An extraordinary thing happens when you begin prioritizing your own peace and joy. Your transformation radiates outward, creating ripples of positivity in every direction. People often fear that focusing on themselves will make them less kind, less generous, less connected. But the opposite is true. Picture a still lake early in the morning, calm and serene. Now gently drop a small pebble in its center. Notice how clearly and powerfully ripples spread out from that single small act, reaching far beyond where the pebble fell. Your self-care, your choice to prioritize yourself is exactly that pebble. At first it seems small, perhaps insignificant. Yet the ripples of your transformation will touch lives around you subtly and profoundly. You'll notice your relationships becoming healthier because you'll show up authentically, no longer exhausted or quietly resentful. You'll become more patient with others because you're no longer impatient with yourself. Your newfound clarity and strength will inspire those around you, gently encouraging them to prioritize their own well-being too. Your courage quietly gives others permission to be courageous as well. Never underestimate the power of your own self-care. It isn't selfish, it's profoundly generous. The healthier, happier you become, the more positively you impact your family, your friends, your community, and ultimately the world. Finally, close your eyes once more and see yourself 1 year from now, a version of you who has genuinely committed to choosing yourself daily. Imagine vividly how you stand taller, breathe deeper, and live lighter. See the smile on your face, real and genuine, not forced or strained. Look closely at your relationships, see how clearly they've improved. Feel how authentic they have become, how mutual respect now defines your connections. Witness yourself achieving goals you once considered impossible because you now have the energy, strength, and confidence to pursue them wholeheartedly. Feel deeply the peace that comes with knowing you honored your own heart, your own truth. You walk through the world differently, more vibrant, more alive, because you're no longer neglecting yourself. You've chosen yourself unapologetically, confidently, and consistently. And hold on to this vision now. Understand clearly that this isn't fantasy. This future is entirely within your reach, beginning with the choices you make today. Commit to this journey. Keep your garden nurtured, your cup filled, and your spirit strong. Face each day with courage, knowing you deserve the life you've imagined. This is your story. Make it beautiful. Choose yourself.